Hey there, my name's Rich. I use the he, him pronouns, and you're watching my YouTube channel where I play and run lots of awesome tabletop role-playing games with friends. This is part of the ongoing anthology campaign I call Star Wars Saturdays. In Star Wars Saturdays, every month, sometimes a couple of times within a month, I'll pick another role-playing game that isn't an official Star Wars licensed RPG, and then folks from the Gauntlet will gather together, we'll create characters, and we'll tell a story together, like short stints. There's no overarching campaign other than the original trilogy of movies, and we're currently slightly outside of Return of the Jedi in the time frame after Palpatine has been thrown down a shaft and is, of course, irrevocably dead, never to come back again, because he went down a shaft. And in Star Wars, we know we'll never see you again. If you go into the maw of some kind of beast or fall down a shaft, you're gone. And the game that we are playing a two-shot of is called, I'm calling it Don't Rest Your Saber. There's this game by Fred Hicks. It's actually one of the first indie games that I ever got. It's called Don't Rest Your Head. And in Don't Rest Your Head, your characters are insomniacs who have been awake for so long that their grip on reality has slipped away. And there are nightmares who are hunting them down. And so they have madness powers, which are like superpowers, and it's dark, and it's very like Neil Gaiman's Neverwhere meets Dark City, and it's just a really fascinating, interesting game. And I thought that the core mechanics could potentially make for an interesting slant in Star Wars, because I think the core mechanics of almost every game could make for an interesting Star Wars story. Don't Rest Your Saber, our characters are Jedi. I left it open for that, and we've had some interesting characters here created. So let's do a quick introduction of characters, and then we are going to try to jump in. But before I do that, let's remind, we do have some safety tools. We have a line on sexual assault, sexual violence, and coercion. We have veil on harm to animals. I'm going to sneeze. Not sure where that came from. Sorry about that. And then content. So a veil means we're not going to see it on screen. We'll fade, fade to black or do a scene wipe. Then we have three items that where if we're like, hey, this might be a thing I introduce, or if you guys have this idea, you'll ask first, check with the table before we commit to introducing it within the game. Ask first on harm to children, sexual content, and slavery. And that ask first means that we could veil it, we could just accept it as a thing, or you can easily say, any one of us can say, can you try it a different way? Or, hey, what about so-and-so? And we can counter offer a little bit. And let's try not to kibitz too long and take too long from it. We'll either move on or we'll introduce that content and continue forward. I see Don't Rest Your Saber as a game that's pushes the envelope between PG-13 and R, and our safety tools, lines and veils, as well as the X card will be there in case we reach one. We're like, you know what, that's not my Star Wars, or I'm super not interested in exploring that. And then you can X card it, and that's no problem whatsoever. There will be lots of violence because lightsabers cut off limbs, but that's in Star Wars, so you're fine with it, I assume. And you guys will be dealing with aspects of the Empire, which has technically is falling apart, but in some places it certainly is empowered. And so there's all of that. Let's go around the horn and introduce our two characters. Stephen, if you can do rename, and David as well, that always helps me. I do appreciate it. And by doing the rename, I just mean like click on the period ellipsis thing on your own like Zoom avatar, and then there's a thing called rename, and you can rename to be your character name, and then in parentheses or whatever you want, put your own. So Stephen, if you could tell us about your Padawan.
Sure. So my name's Stephen, and I use the he,
Not
him
coming
pronouns.
through yet. There, now you are.
There we go. Okay. Sorry about that. Hi, my name's Stephen, and I use the he, him pronouns. Today I'm playing Tel Rot. Tel is a Tusken. He started to develop force, but he started to develop force powers and that kind of stuff. And I think the wise women or the wise people in his tribe, did what they could, but this was something that was outside of their scope. They weren't used to something like this. They were used to maybe little visions whenever you smoke too much weed or something like that. And of course, the Republic didn't find the Tuskens because they're out of the way. But eventually, the new Jedi Order, who were searching harder to find force sensitive people since Order 66 had happened and the resurgence of the Republic after the Empire, did come across him and recruited him. He wears the traditional Tusken outfit, so this is wrapped from head to toe in fabric of some type. He has like goggles and a mask and that kind of thing. Speaks basic, so that's fine. And seems a little hard-edged under your first impression. But I think once getting to know him, there's a little bit of a dichotomy there of, he definitely has a soft side to him.
Very cool. Thank you so much for letting us know a bit about your Padawan. And every Padawan at some point had a master. So, David, tell us about it.
My name is David, and I'll be playing Merida Tull. She's a human Jedi Knight, recently graduated from the new Jedi Order. She's in her probably early teen or 20s, and she is feeling very much obligated to make great first impression, reputation for the Order, and also to take care of this new first Padawan of hers, especially one of this nature. And she has a very friendly demeanor, very friendly, disarming smile, and but she has some attachments to some things that make her a little bit more fierce on the inside that she might have struggled to let go of. So she's a very kind person, comes from a loving environment, but has some things that she hasn't been able to let go of just yet. And but she thinks she can make a difference for the galaxy.
The two of you have been sent on a mission by your the Jedi Master of the new Jedi Order temple on Rhodia, the home of the Rhodians. It was an ancient temple that had fallen into disrepair, and Nova Kalos found it with some fledgling trainees. He has had multiple Padawans. You, Merida, are one of the first graduates of this new temple, and he has sent you and Tel Rot off on this mission. So, is your current mission on Nar Shaddaa, Tatooine, or Coruscant? I think Tatooine could be interesting because we have we have a Tusken Raider. Nar Shaddaa is always interesting because there will be lots of mixed loyalties, and then Coruscant is still under Imperial control. Sate Prathaj has declared himself the Emperor in the stead of Palpatine, so they all are pretty fraught.
My first thought is Tatooine. What do you think, Stephen?
That sounds fine. Yeah.
Okay.
Good. Okay. So, Nova Kalos has sent you guys to Tatooine. He has sent you because he has sensed a disturbance in the Force. Oh, very cool picture of Wise Woman from your tribe. I really, really like that. He just sensed a disturbance in the Force. Now, he knows that one other of the students that he has taught has left the temple and is here on Tatooine. Merida, what was your relationship to this fellow Jedi of yours? We're going to say that this Jedi is, we've got a human and a Tusken. I think it would be interesting if this Jedi were a near human.
Sure. I'm going to say that we were, if this is too explicit, let me know, both rivals and lovers.
Nice. Okay. And so rivals and lovers, with that in, did you have a gender preference for this rival and lover of yours?
I did not. So
Okay.
whatever
Cool.
works.
Sweet. So we've got a near human rival and lover of Merida. Is it Merida or do you say
Merida? Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And then what was, let's give this person a name. And I'll stick it in our NPCs in just a minute. But we're going to call her Hella Jessard. So, Telret, what was your interaction with Hella? It wasn't overall positive, was it? What was it about Hella where the two of you had a conflict at some point?
And this was a Padawan that's graduated, that's left?
I'm sorry?
And this was a Padawan who's graduated and left?
This is a Jedi Knight who...
A Jedi Knight, okay.
Mm-hmm.
When I first arrived at this training facility, they were about to leave, so my experience was fortunately short. But they definitely asserted their dominance over the younger members, and let it be known that they knew more than we did, and therefore we should show them. She called it respect, but it was really more servitude.
This is perfect. Absolutely perfect.
It sounds like kind of like know your place sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then you said rivals and lovers. What was it that Hella and Merida conflicted over the most?
I think who is the best knight?
Oh, and Hella graduated before you.
Oh, yes. I think we had this sort of like, I'm going to prove to everyone that I'm the best. That sort of thing egged us on, and also showed each other, what our limits were in some ways, but also our strengths.
I like that a lot. So then, did you reach out to Hella ahead of time, knowing that she was somewhere here on Tatooine, and the mission that Nova had sent you on would send you this way?
So with her leaving, did she leave under good terms or did she leave under bad terms?
She left without an official graduation of the temple. She kind of walked away, so probably not the best terms.
Okay. So I would probably, because thinking that she had given up on the order, probably not have contacted her. Still kind of bitter about that.
Cool. So the reason that Nova Kalos has sent the pair of you here is that he sensed a disturbance in the Force. He sensed within the Force that there was a new darkness rising on Tatooine. He felt many people being shackled, and that there was some new darkness that was growing hold, like a weed, as it would tear apart a plant. And so he asked you, Merida, to take your Padawan to fly on the Silver Dart, and Grom Rabor is your pilot. The Silver Dart is this tried and true starship that Nova had a long time ago, and he's just kept it for Padawans and others to use to go on and off of Rhodia.
Awesome.
The three of you, Grom Rabor is down on like row 24, so I'll bring him up on the NPCs, so we have him a little alongside all the others. And I also found a pic of Hela. Is that suitable for Hela? Is that a good enough picture, you think? It's on row 5 of NPCs and Places tab.
Yeah, that's great.
Cool. Knowing that you're going to Tatooine, Telrod, is there anything that you did in preparation for returning to your birthplace, the place where your tribe, your people are?
I think I first go to seek advice from once Nova Kalos tells us that we'll be going to Tatooine and that there is a darkness there. I'll seek out the advice of Merida. And I'm returning home. Is this the kind of attachment that I should avoid? Or is this the kind of attachment that you think we should take advantage of and make contact with my tribe to see if they can help us find what the problem is?
So does your character actually use the word attachment?
I do.
Okay.
Because, yeah, I was older. Yeah.
Sure.
Whenever I was taken. Yeah.
So I think what Merida would try to do, because she recognizes that we have feelings, right? We can't completely erase those connections to our life and to others. So how she approaches is like, let's think of it in terms of like the goals of our mission here. So if there are people or resources that we think might be helpful for us to accomplish this and not harm anyone, let's think of it that way.
I see. Maybe it would be best if I were not to directly contact my kinsmen, but maybe people who were, maybe those who were close to them, so that we can see exactly what's happening. It may be that whatever this danger is might put my kinsmen, those that I care about, in danger.
Right. If there's any way we can gather the information without directly bringing our mission to bear on your people, I think that's a safer route.
So I think that you're very wise, Master. I appreciate that perspective, and I think at that point I'll put out a message, not directly to my tribe, but maybe to those that we trade with. So maybe an ancillary tribe, or maybe the Jawa, or maybe at one of the most land spaceports kind of thing.
And I think, I don't know if this is protocol or not, but I feel like because Merida's trying to be the perfect Jedi Knight here, she would probably like meditate, because that's what she's seen masters do. Whether or not it's like she needs to, she probably would carve out time in her day to meditate ahead of the mission.
Okay. Yeah, I'm kind of envisioning that this meditation and Talrod's communication, like you guys are on the Silver Dart, right?
Yeah,
because going from Rhodia to Tatooine is just not like a one-hop thing. You got to go along a trade route and then do a couple pops. So you can have this conversation. You can do your meditation. Talrod can reach out to people, and I think that's really cool. So you wanted to meditate.
Yeah.
What are you looking for?
Looking to find out the most direct route is what is the source of this trouble? That's this darkness. What is the source of that? To really kind of understand what's involved before we get there.
Fantastic. So let's engage the system.
Okay.
I think I had created a don't rest your party link, maybe, or don't rest your party. What the hell am I talking about? Roll for your party, Rich.
Don't rest your party. That sounds like a LARP.
Everything's it's all
connected.
synergy, friend. It's all connected. That's right. Here we go. There's a roll for your party, and I'll stick that down on row 42 because that's the answer to everything. So let's build a pool. Let's talk about this real quick because this is our foray into mechanics. So don't rest your saber. The way that we work with this is that anytime you're going to make a roll, you automatically get to roll discipline, right? You start with 3 dice in your pool, 6-siders. You're looking for 2 things. I love this. Fred Hicks, who created Don't Rest Your Head, refers to this as the rich rolling system. So I love it.
It's destiny.
Right? What you're looking for successes is there's not a target number. In this game, the GM rolls dice. I know. It's crazy. It's really weird to roll dice, but that's how it goes. We're looking for 1s, 2s, and 3s. So 1, 2, or 3 on your 6-sided die is considered a success. I am rolling a stat of conflict called pain. I roll pain. And that is a number of dice that I roll for a challenge. I often will tell you the pain that you're looking at to do a thing, and which is effectively like the risk that you're rolling against. So you're looking for a degree of success. You count the 1s, 2s, and 3s, as do I. But at any time, you can increase your attachments by 1. You currently have an attachments of 0, right? So you can increase your attachments by 1, and then you're rolling 3 discipline and 1 attachment. Anytime that you roll, you may reach into the dark side of up to 6 dice, as many as you want, and roll those along with a 3 discipline that you're rolling. Now, if you increase your attachments by 1, it stays at 1, right? There's a semi-permanent increase of that pool. If you grab into the dark side 3 dice, it doesn't increase your dark side pool permanently at all. That's just a power that you can draw upon. So you're looking for 1, 2s, and 3s. For successes, you get to count together all the 1, 2s, and 3s on all of your dice. Mm-hmm. But because it's called a rich rolling system, it's got another aspect to it, and that is what pool dominates the roll. So you roll those 3 discipline dice, and let's say you added your attachment, right? So if you were to roll 1, 2, and 3 on all of your discipline dice, but rolled a 6 on your attachment die, that pool has the highest single total. It dominates the roll. When attachment dominates, your attachments go up by 1, right? So you become more and more your attachments, like you're drawing upon that aspect that gives you extra well of power, but those attachments can come back to bite you, right? You can become overwhelmed. You could lose your attachments if things go wrong. Now, if pain dominates the roll, right? If pain dominates the roll, then I get a coin called the despair coffer, and we'll just represent that as coins here on the roll for your party thing. We'll just do it as tokens. I can use that to screw you later by playing with your dice and other little fiddly things that we'll talk about when we get there. So with all of that set up, you've got 3 discipline dice. You are looking to find some darkness far away. This is not easy. I'm going to say that this is a 4 pain that you are rolling against. Awesome. So I'll be rolling 4 dice.
Okay.
Do you want to increase your attachments by 1?
So I have 2 that are active. Does that mean that
That's just me to say, like,
Okay.
color wise,
Okay.
your pool of attachments is
Okay.
at 0.
Okay.
Unless you want to say, like, hey, I want to start with 2 attachment dice, you can. But remember, that is really hard to get rid of. They're
So
sticky.
yeah. I feel like going into this, I'm already thinking like the Jedi Knight position or role is coming into play. And let's see. I'm going to also do the Jedi Order. Yeah, so I'm going to have those 2 attachments in here.
Okay, so you can only once per roll add 1 die to it. So we'll say that those influence you, but mechanically
Yeah,
you'll
I'll
be
do-
raising your attachments by 1
Okay.
from 0
Okay,
to 1.
so I have 4 dice.
Do you want to bring any dark side dice into
No, that's wrong. That's evil. No.
You're so right. All right. Well, then you are rolling 4 dice. If you could roll your 3 dice and then change the color of your dice with this drop down to roll the other. And Stephen, if you want to roll physical dice, just make sure that you're keeping those pools separate.
All right.
Hey, that's great. That's your discipline dice. That's the best. So only 1 success, but discipline's dominated the roll most likely. So go ahead and roll your 1 attachment die, and then I'll roll my pain dice. All right. So the 3 was that attachment. And remember, you can drop this down to have a different color. Otherwise, it's going to be hard to. Or you could do it as a pips. You could like say, this is my 1 thing and this is my other. So I'm now going to roll my 4 pain dice. I'm going to do those as purple because that's the meanest looking one, because the red isn't super. I'll do it. Fine. I'm doing red. 4d6 pips. All right. Well, remember when I said, hey, your discipline dominated the roll? It actually didn't. So here's what happens. You've got 2 successes from your roll, right? 1 from discipline, 1 from attachments. I had 1 success on pain. You have won the conflict. Now, as far as what dominates, you had 2 6s in your your discipline. I have 2 6s and a 4. So the 2 6s cancel each other out. The 4 is the next against your 1, which means that pain dominated the roll. So the good news is you have a success. You have more success than I did. If pain dominates, you pay a greater price. You pay a coin into the GM's despair coffer. That's I get to make things more interesting later. I think tokens go right there. So I'm going to give myself a red token over here, and bam. And I'm going to go ahead and lead out these dice, and it means that, hey, you got what you wanted. You wanted to look and see what the disturbance in the force was, but it was not easy. You tell me, what does it look like? Are you sitting on like one of those, like, Jedi? I'm sorry, I can't hear you. Audio's not coming through, David.
Hello?
Yep, gotcha.
So I'm sitting on one of those Papasan cushions.
Yep.
I got my tea and everything. I'm like totally like stereotype here, because this is what I see. And yeah, I'm sitting in those, and I feel like that I'm not prepared for this vision, so I might even like almost fall off of it or something. Like it hits me harder than expected, and maybe like when I come to, it's like I might be thinking like this is space turbulence or something going on, but like I feel like almost like waking up from a dream too, like just kind of really disoriented.
Nice. So you reach out through the force, seeking Tatooine, and we see you, right? You're at the point where you guys aren't currently in light speed. You've come out of Rhodey, you've popped down the Rim of Trade route, you're about to chart a new course. Grommerbor is running things, and he's got a couple of droids there, but we go into your quarters, and you reach out and you travel along the cosmos, and then boom, you come upon Tatooine. We see this desert planet from orbit, and then you zip even closer, seeking out, reaching for the darkness, but not using the dark side, which is pretty clever. And in that moment where between heartbeats, when you reach out through the force, you feel that connection, the lover, the rival. You feel Hela Gisard. And when you snap to, you see that she is standing in this place. Metal plates are around wherever she is some kind of palace, but it's dingy, it's sandy, it's gritty. There are old, dilapidated droids here, and she, as you see her, as you connect with her, you see that she has, by the throat, she has a Gamorrean, and she's slowly lifting this Gamorrean up, and it's grasping with this little, chubby fingers, and her grip is so iron tight that it can't break it. And then she just twists and snaps his neck.
Oh my gosh. I probably like reflexively scream like no, and it's too late. Like, no, Hela.
And when you scream out no Hela, she snaps and it's too late, but she stops and she turns, and you can see her eyes have yellowed, and she looks right at you. And then you're snapped out. You're pulled out of that vision.
I am probably like weeping and torn, and I probably kick over the tray with the tea and everything on it. And once I collect myself together, after a bit, I'm gonna go talk to my Padawan and also the pilot too.
Nice. So let's catch up. You were reaching out, Telrot, to not your people, but some folks that you knew on Tatooine. Are you imagining that maybe you know like a Jedi clan that has a sand crawler? Do you think that maybe you know some traders, or maybe some spice runners, or just some merchants in Mos Eisley? What do you think?
So I think my first thought is I'm going to say, okay, so we've been sent to check out trouble on Tatooine, and the biggest trouble I know of are the huts, right? They're the biggest problem. So I think I'm going to put in a call to see if I can't talk to someone to get the lowdown about what's going on inside the hut stuff right now. But this is right after Jedi, so I don't think I get a return call, right? I don't get an answer.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, because these guys are all dead or vying for control or something. So I think
I feel like imagine like a little snap, you like calling one person, and we see, oh, it's just the flash. Like, this was the Weequay that like fell into the pit. This was the one who was on the Jedi sand, or on the hut sand barge, that went down. Like, yeah, totally.
And we see like the little communicator and the little light lights up. That's it.
Yes.
So then I think I sit back for a second. And I go, okay, let's. I think I call up a trader in Mos Espa.
Okay.
This trader has always been honest. Has taken payment, but also whenever we've needed medicine or we've needed supplies, they make sure to give it to us on loan, and it's been a reasonable amount. So I feel like this trader is responsible. And I think I just want to set up a meeting with them saying, hey, I'm coming into town. We have some needs. I think we'll be able to make it worth your while, and set up a meet.
Awesome. They're dead, but you end up talking to their daughter.
Okay.
Thelu. So you're the daughter of let's give this person a name. Let's say that they were named Griggs. Does that sound good?
Yeah.
So the daughter of Griggs takes your message, and she says, yes, of course I'll meet. Any friend of my father is a friend of mine. Can you make it to Mos Espa? I really can't get out of town right now.
Yes. I think that's where we will head. I will have to, you know, I will have to talk with the rest of my group. However, um, I must give my condolences. Your father was a good man and always treated people fairly, and I'm very sorry to hear of his passing.
He's been gone for a few years. You must
Oh.
have known him a long time ago, but thank you. I miss him every day.
And I look forward to seeing you and seeing how we can help each other.
So do I.
Yeah.
And I'm imagining it's like audio only, and then the image flickers to the blue hollow of Thelu, and I've got a Thelu's up on row 2 of the NPCs, so you see her. And do you turn your video on?
I do not. I leave it with in just audio.
Okay,
Yeah.
probably a good call. Awesome.
Yeah.
There's-
I've worked with traders in the past, and they would be intimidated.
Yeah,
And it would be
that's why I wanted to know.
strange. Yeah. So you said Thelu was on row 2?
Daughter, on row 2 of the NPCs tab.
I see her. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, E2. Yeah, so Thelo, she's young, and you see she is in Mos Espa. Like, that's where you expected to find Griggs. And she says, okay, I have not moved from my father's stall. So if you come here, then I'm happy to meet. And if you arrive and are close to Mos Espa, I can come to you.
Yes. We will get in contact whenever we arrive. It should be within, and I give her, within a day span.
Okay, cool. Awesome. And as you're finishing up that conversation, Merida comes to your room. I imagine your room's like not bad, but a little smaller than Merida's,
Yeah, just a bunk. And
That's all you
it's
need.
probably, if I can, I probably keep the thermostat warmer than anywhere else in the ship.
I love it. Yeah, it's totally cool.
Yeah, so Merida comes rushing in a little bit quicker than normal. She's calmed down considerably since the experience, but with you, she says we need to speak with the pilot. This
I
might
think
change
the way
our
that
plans.
Okay, I think the way that this looks is I'm looking at Thelu through the
Oh.
little like blue thing,
Sure.
and as soon as it disconnects, that's whenever the door on the other side opens and you
sure.
step through.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice. I like
awesome.
that
Love
framing.
it. Yeah.
And you're like,
Yeah.
we need to talk right away.
Yeah, we need to talk with pilot. Our plans may change as a result of what I saw through the Force.
Oh. Okay. Master, I can share with some information with you as well. I have made contact with the daughter of one of my previous one of the people I knew previously on Tatooine, and they might be able to tell us more about what's happening there.
Wonderful. So I feel like there's like a cut. And
Yep,
we're on,
absolutely.
we're on the bridge with the pilot.
Sounds good.
And like basically sharing our notes, as it were. And so Merida talks about how through the Force she had a vision of Hela possibly turn to the dark side, killing a Gamorrean, and she describes the space, wondering if Padawan Tell or the pilot might have any idea if they've been there or understand what this place might be where she's at or where she was at during the vision.
Tell Rod. Oh, yeah. No, I was just going to ask real quick. Tell Rod, have you ever been to Jabba's palace?
I don't think so. This could have been just about any place. But Gamorreans, that's kind of more of a telltale. And I think, Master, I would not jump to conclusions so quickly because the Gamorreans, they are a rough bunch and, may have needed to be taken out. So I do not know what Hela was doing at that point,
murdered him with her own hands. And if I know this, like if she used dark side to enhance it or not.
Felt like it.
Yeah, she used the Force to murder.
Oh, well, that's...
And I don't know if there are any other smells or anything in the vision that would that I would relay like a spice or anything, but Merida would share any impressions that she got from this place. And she knows that I am aware of her. So if she is in fact involved with this darkness rising incident, she knows that we're coming.
I see.
And,
All
and
right.
Merida, and I see Merida is like she's standing or sitting still, but her saber hand, I'll say that she's left-handed. Her saber hand is fidgeting. Like just like moving, almost as if she wants to play piano or something with it. Like it just won't stop.
And Captain Rabor says, well, they know you're coming. We're still going, right?
We're to investigate what's going on. We only have a little bit of information.
So I can tell you that I made radio contact with one Thelu, who is the daughter of a deceased merchant that I have dealt with previously. His name was Griggs. Griggs was very fair. I've only seen Thelu whenever she was younger, and she was. I did not interact with her directly. However, the reason I reached out to this gentleman, whenever I called my other contacts, they didn't answer. And that leads me to believe, especially with the death of Griggs, that there's been a large power imbalance. For many years, the gangs on Tatooine would fight each other back and forth, but power begets power. So there was always power there, mostly through the taking advantage of people. However, with Griggs dead and not being able to contact many of my other people, it sounds like something bigger than the normal power squabbles have gone on. I told Thelu that we could meet her within a day or so of us arriving, so we have some leeway there, but it would be on Mos Espa.
That's fine. We will go there undercover. We will not flaunt our Jedi status while we're there, especially if Hela is aware of us coming. She will probably attempt to discern our location as well. So make sure to practice your Jedi shielding techniques.
Oh, yes, Master. That makes sense. It is not common for Tuskens to go interior in a city, but it's not completely unheard of. I can wear, dark robes and hide myself somewhat. You, with your outfit that you're wearing, should blend in fairly well. I don't think that would be an issue. I suspect you may want to hide your face or hide your hair, so that you aren't recognized. But otherwise, I don't think we will have any problems passing.
Very astute. So I guess we give like coordinates to our pilot about where to pilot to Mos Espa close to park. Okay.
Captain Raybor says, all right, I'll take care of it. And he heads over
Thanks,
and
Captain.
hands over the coordinates to his astromech droid, and you guys continue your flight. So we do a quick cut to the Dart coming out of hyperspace, sublight engines into Tatooine. There's, of course, Mos Espa is not a Mos Eisley, but there's enough where people will be bring you in, and he has a docking bay to land upon. When you, Telrod, get a very sudden instinct that you are in immediate danger, what do you do? You guys have not, like, you're coming in to land.
I think I would actually probably be in like the I don't know, the cargo bay or something, like near the exit, getting ready. And I think whenever I get this feeling, I turn immediately to Merida and say, "Master, there's a disturbance." And I think I rush back towards where the pilots area is.
Awesome. So you're coming towards the pilot's area and you hear weep, 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 and Rabor is like hammering in some coordinates, and he starts to, like, the silver dart kind of shifts off to the left, and he goes, "What are you doing? What? No, there's no reason to target us." And that's when you see there's like a blaring thing, and a turret starts firing on the silver dart. Merida, when Telrot told you that he'd sensed a disturbance in the
Sure.
force and was worried, what do you do?
There's a number of things going through my head, like the Jedi Knight checklist. Like, don't reach out to the Force right now. Make sure we're safe. So basically, do we have like shipboard communicators
Sure, yeah.
so we can holler wherever we are?
Yep,
Okay.
absolutely.
Basically, yelling to the captain, like, leave the port. It's not worth it. Like, get out of danger.
All right, doing my best, he says as he starts to bank, but unfortunately when he banks, the turret just like sights in the belly of the ship, and the turbo lasers fire, and it shears through the belly of the ship, and the silver dart turns end over end. It never fully makes out that big pivot turn. It's just the force that slams it in. Telrot, you're thrown back. Grom Rabor, like the glass, the plastisteel like shatters in, and so you have the sand and everything coming in, and the silver dart is crashing in Mos Espa.
Oh my God.
You're just tumbling under it in. There's fire, there's smoke everywhere. Merida
is attempting to get to the cockpit because that's where she believed Tel was going to save Tel and the pilot from.
Okay.
So
And
like
did
as
we-
it's spinning, she's moving, to try to get there.
Awesome. What is Telrot doing?
Did we actually spin and land in the city itself, or are
You
we
haven't
on the
landed
outskirts?
yet.
Oh, well,
You're
I
not
mean,
going to, but you were actually coming down into Mos Espa. I'm imagining it's not unlike Mos Eisley in that they have those like little conical kind of landing pad type deal. And so he was headed towards a landing pad, noticed, hey, someone's targeting me. He tried to bank when Meredith said, get the hell out of here. And so you guys are over populated areas of Mos Espa about to crash.
Okay. I think Tel's first instinct would be to see if so he's near where the piloting area is. Is it destroyed or is it still intact?
The piloting area, so the cockpit,
Yeah.
the front, like everything's kind of crashed in from the impact of being hit. This ship is going down. Those gauges and the stick is not doing anything. He's covered in cuts. Grom Rabor is covered in cuts from everything exploding in on his face. And he's out of it. Like, he was trying to save the ship, and then everything's gone foobarred at this point.
So I think what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to try and grab a hold of the controls and wrestle with them to give us the best possible landing. This maybe steer it away from populated areas in town. And I think my reasoning behind that is that the captain can't manage with this, but I have face coverings, and I'm used to the sand. I know how to not let it get in my mouth and nose and all of that. So I'm going to try and see the best I can steer this away from a populated area.
There is a slim chance of you pulling this out.
Oh yeah.
We're going to say this is 5 pain because it looks like you're going to ride out this crash. And if you fail, you crash and you don't jump free. You're just in a big hulk that slams to the ground. So just a reminder, friends, that I have that coin of despair. Just a reminder.
That's for me. Spend it on me.
No, it's actually, I can use it however I want. You gave it to me, but I can give it back. When I use it, it becomes a coin of hope, friends. Sweet. So you've got 3 discipline, Telrot. Do you want to increase your attachments by 1?
I will increase my attachments by 1.
Awesome. By the way, I just updated your attachments pool for Merida, and we're now I see, Stephen, you're doing that for Telrot. Awesome. Would you like to use any dark side dice? Remember, this is 5 pain coming your way.
I don't think so. I don't think this is a reason that I would reach out to the dark side. I'm not angry at anything.
Uh-huh.
But I do have a question. Do I need to specify what attachment I'm using at this point?
I mean, if you want to give some color to it, that is helpful.
Okay.
What are you thinking of? What attachment are you thinking of the most right now?
Probably the fact that this is my home planet, Tatooine, and I know people in this area, and I know where people would be living. And the people,
Oh, yeah.
that are near the spaceport are going to be some of the poorest.
Of course. Right, because who really wants to live there? That's awesome. Please roll 4 dice. If you are you rolling physical?
No, I'm going to roll them on Roll for Your Party.
Okay.
And I'm going to roll purple.
Let's all share in the fun.
Yes. And I'm going to roll, I think I did that right. Okay. 3d6 and 1 with pips. So.
Okay. And the pips is your attachment.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Nope, I rolled that wrong.
You rolled the
Sorry.
D8, huh?
I did. Let me roll 4. So do you mind clearing that?
I am deleting those out of there.
Thank you.
Okay, maybe I'm not.
So that should be right. Let me try that again. Oh.
All right.
Let me clear these. Oops. Tension, right? Okay. Submit. Those are all D6s. Haha. So I got 1 success.
1 success, and it looks like discipline dominated the roll. And I got 3 successes, and unfortunately, pain also dominated the roll. So I'm gonna clear all dice and then give myself 2 tokens.
Okay.
So Merida, you come into you kind of move your way across. You end up almost tripping over the astromech. It's slagged, like it was kind of popped in at some point trying to brace shields or something, and it was right in the blast area. You make your way to the cockpit, holding on, and you see Telrot is behind the controls of the co-pilot thing, and you're diving down, and you can feel Telrot's tension and worry, thinking about the people that he knows, just as you smash into one of the, those circular landing pad type things, and everything goes black for a moment. You both wake up to the sound of flames. You hear someone wailing nearby. You're not sure if it's pain or fright or what. Telrot, you took a lot of, it hurt. Like, you got a bunch of cuts from trying to manage this. You were right in ground zero. You didn't put on a seatbelt, because who has seatbelts in Star Wars? Like, literally, there are no guardrails and no seatbelts. But anyway, no, that's not true. I've seen people buckling. Anyway, making jokes. Yeah, but you went and you slammed into this building. Grummerbor is dead. The ship is slagged, and you can't see past the low bit, because you came in at an angle. You kind of went nose first in. Probably should have died. You can see the sand of the landing pad area in the middle of where you have crashed, and you see there's movement. Telrot, what do you do?
So I think I crawl out from underneath the wreckage of the seat I was in, and work my way back towards where the exit was, where I last saw Merida. And quietly I say a little, thank, not really a prayer, but thank you for the soft sand to land in. And it could have been much worse. And you said that there's someone wailing outside, either in fear or pain.
Mm-hmm.
And that's in a different direction than where I last saw Merida. Is that right?
Merida's right there. You saw her a second before you guys crashed.
Oh, so. Okay. So she's right here. So in that case, I think I'm going to head towards where that wailing is.
Sweet. Do you want to crawl out of the cockpit, or do you want to try to go up to one of the ports to try to drop out?
I think I'm going to try to crawl directly out of the cockpit.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Merida, you see Telrot. He takes a moment, and then he's starting to try to climb out.
So
are you
Merida
doing, Merida?
would physically, if she could, keep him from leaving out of a visible exit point, and say, like in whisper tone, says, "They wanted us dead. Let's make them believe it for a little while."
Yes, Master. Yes.
And then basically try to find another exit out that's
Awesome.
not in view.
So when you say that to Telrot and you say, "Yes, Master," you hear,
"There's no way that they survived that." "I hear that, TX, but we're here. Go on in. Let's clear it."
And I think that there's the possibility of you guys getting shot. If you would like to make your way out, the good news is the pain is only 3. Who would like to try to find your egress from this starship?
Merida feels like she's leading the way out. She has her saber ready, but is not willing to display it until she absolutely has to.
Awesome. So as a reminder, you increase your attachments by 1, so you get that die already. You can increase it by 1 more.
Okay.
You only have 3 pain to go against.
Okay.
You got those 3 discipline already, and then 1 attachment. Do you want to add to your attachments?
I'm going to continue with my current attachment of
Okay.
being a Jedi Knight.
Would you like to draw upon the dark side?
No.
Okay.
No. This is kind of a routine landing for some Jedi.
Sure.
I heard Anakin was really good at doing this.
Yeah, and we see how things came out for
him. All right, so that is 3 and 1 again?
3 and 1.
Okay, so let's do that. Submit. All right. Okay, that's fine. I'll do 1. I got 1 success off of my attachment.
Nice. Those attachments pay off. And I got 2 successes, and pain dominates the roll. Yeah, I'll just go ahead and take my new token. Man, these tokens, at some point I'm going to use them, but you guys are doing so poorly, I don't have to. I'm not trying to make you feel bad. Like, you should feel good.
That's fine. It's great.
Sweet. So, really? You have to delete twice. Oh, this thing. This used to be a really reliable die roller. Pain dominated the roll.
Yep.
And pain had the most successes. So you fail to miss these troopers. So Telrot, you follow Merida. The 2 of you are dizzy. You're bloody. Like you've taken physical harm, right? You just have pools. You don't have hit points, but you're definitely hurt. Like you've probably broken a rib. You probably have Merida. You probably have some like lesion on your head, or like some kind of cut on your head, maybe a little bit of concussion. But you guys have the power of the Force and you're heroes, so you find your way out. You pop open one of the hatches, and that's when you see one of those APV, like the armored personnel carrier, APC units, like zipping up along the street, and then one of the troopers who was near the head says,
"Over here, come on!"
And that's when a hail of blaster fire just riddles into that port. And if you go out there, you're either going to have to go kill them, or you're going to get shot. But they've got you,
pinned down?
What is the pinned down? That's the word. I was like something down, and I wanted to say hammer. They've got you pinned down inside the ship. Telrot, Merida had opened up that hatch, and then blaster fire came in.
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing, Telrot? This is looking pretty desperate. What do you want to do?
I think I look over at Merida for, is it okay?
So Merida's like, we need to use our environment to our advantage here. We're outnumbered.
Right.
So I think what she is considering doing is using a section of the ship and using the force to kind of jettison it out towards them, that basically ram into them, and possibly knock over the APC, or at least provide cover for them while they escape from the wreckage.
That seems like a great plan. It really does. There's a lot of those guys. So I'm going to say is 4 pain
Right.
for you to do that. Now, here's the thing. You're drawing upon the force in moments of high stress.
Yep.
So I'm going to say you're going to have to draw upon the dark side to pull this off. You get to determine it's at least 1, value of at least 1. Now, if the dark side dominates the role, then if you take a look at your character, like on the character keeper part, for the characters, you see those responses of anger and fear. If you hover over, and I'll do a share screen just so you guys know what I'm talking about, you get 3 total responses, right? Right now, there are 3 here and 3 here. You get to divvy up how you want those 3 responses to work. You can have 3 in anger, 3 in fear, 2 in 1 of the other, however you want to mix it. If dark side dominates a role, you have to check off one of those responses. Either you resolve this through anger or through fear. If it's anger, you have to react to results of the action, success or failure, with consuming rage, from lashing out unthinkingly at a friend, frothily throwing themselves at an opponent no matter the odds, smashing through otherwise useful resources. And then for fear, if that is the response you choose, then regardless of success or failure, you react with abject terror. You could run away until you can't run anymore, freeze in the moment of paralytic fright, screaming loud enough to give away your position, anything along those lines. So first, let me ask, how do you want to divvy out your 3 total responses?
So I have to split those between fear and anger?
Yes.
Okay.
So you can have 3 anger,
Right.
3 fear, 2 anger, 1 fear, or 1 anger.
I think for Merida, where she's really worried about her Padawan more than anything, and also like I think of a direct confrontation with Hela. So probably 2 fear and 1 anger.
Okay. So then if you decide next session that you wanted to divvy that up differently, you can. How do you want to divvy up your responses for Telrot?
2 anger and 1 fear.
I can't hear you, Stephen.
2 anger and 1 fear?
Okay. 2 anger, 1 fear. That's great. All right. So, as I said, you need to use at least 1 dark side die. You have an attachment die. You have your discipline. Would you like to increase your attachments, Merida, for this?
Yeah, this is the one where the attachment to her Padawan.
Okay, fantastic.
Is there helping in this?
So there's not, and that's one of the reasons why I like to have just 2 players in a Don't Rest Your Head game. There isn't really helping. I mean, hold on, just a moment. Let me double check because I want to make sure, but that is my recollection because people have always asked, but it's been helping. In general, protagonists cannot easily combine their efforts against a single objective. There's some benefit to it, but not a lot. Each protagonist assisting a main protagonist may roll their discipline dice as a secondary contribution to the conflict. These dice may add successes to the main protagonist's degree, but do not participation in the determination of strength. Talents don't apply. So yes, you may roll your discipline die to reflect it. That works just great, and I'll add that into the rules doc. Do you want to roll your discipline, and how is Telrot helping?
Yeah, so I think whenever Telrot kind of looked over, and they've got us pinned down, as soon as Merida, kind of nodded her head and started to draw in the force, I think Telrot took that hatch, and he's just going to push out with the force as hard as he can to blow that hatch off in their direction.
Yeah.
Cool. That's a great way to help. So go ahead and roll your discipline. Yeah,
and I totally see Merida's, like, she's like talking through this, both to explain to Padawan, but also like to keep herself calm as much as she can. What did you get? Oh, those are great.
2 successes. That's great. So we'll just move these over here. They do not count in determining which pool dominates because you are just helping.
All right. So I will be drawing on. Let's see. I'm going to draw on 2 dark side, 2 attachment, and 3 discipline.
Ooh, nice. 3-2-2. And I am saying that this is. I did not set the pain difficulty, correct?
I don't remember if you did, but you
I don't
did
think
say
I
that
did.
it was stressful, so I had to use dark side.
Correct. All right. So you're rolling 4, 2, and 2, a total of 8 dice.
All right, let me get my roll thing here. Okay. So 3 discipline. I got 2 successes.
All right. That's good. You guys got 4 successes so far.
And then 2 attachment.
Okay.
Those are
Wow.
both
That's
successes.
a lot of successes.
And then 2 dark side. I'll do that over here.
Whoa.
Two.
Wow.
That's
That's
crazy.
amazing. All right. So before we get too super excited, 6 pain comes your way.
Mhm.
Oh, guess what? Pain dominates the roll, but you succeed, which means things are a little on the painful side, but you are able to defeat these stormtroopers, and I get another coin of despair. Now, when we determine what dominates, that is discipline. That is awesome. So when discipline dominates, no, discipline did not dominate. What am I saying? I got 2 successes. It was pain that dominated. However, you succeeded. So you defeat these stormtroopers. Give me a little color, Meredith. Like, what does it look like when you?
So I feel like the 2 of us are maybe working together, and we push out a fair amount of this debris. If there's anyone directly in the way, they get slammed into the APC. And I kind of see, like, for dramatic effect, like the force is so great because of the dark side involved that it actually like flips the APC over on its side too.
Yeah.
And there's like fire and smoke coming out. So it looks fairly dramatic. And I feel like Merida's first impulse is to get her Padawan with her and to just use this as a distraction and to just run as fast as they can to get out of here.
Nice. So Telrot, you know this place. Merida doesn't. Where do you guide? Like, you're guiding from while being led, but I think you can influence where you guys go. Where do you want to end up here in Mos Espa?
So I think we're going to go towards more where the slum areas are. This is where typically there wouldn't be a high concentration of troops, of activity. And I've probably done this. I'm not a typical humanoid race, so the troops don't like me very much. They might tolerate me, but I think I just go towards a slum area where they're not going to be as populated. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I'll give you say you guys end up in a slum area, but you weren't going to see the contact that you'd made. You weren't headed to see Thelu, right? You're
No,
just
I
looking for
don't want to
some
bring
impoverished area.
Yeah, I don't want to bring this heat down on them. And I think, this is like I head towards the slave quarters or something like that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
So the pair of you, after taking out those stormtroopers, you head to the slave area. By the way, these stormtroopers, now that you've gotten a chance to kind of look at them, it's very the stormtroopers that you saw in Mandalorian before Esposito shows up with the totally sleek ones. So everything's a little dingy. It's got some grime on it. The pieces look a little mismatched. It's obvious that these guys are more like a stormtrooper gang than stormtrooper like elite trained soldiers. So you took them out working together, and Telrod effectively leads you guys to the slave quarters where you can hide out. I think this is a great time for us to take our mid-game break. It's 42 after, so we'll meet 10 till, somewhere around there. and we'll pick back up with you guys being able to take a breath for a moment. Cool. See you guys in a bit. I clicked the button to turn off mute and kept waiting for my video to come on because I'm smart. SMART, smart. So mid-game feedback. Just to check in. What are you guys thinking so far of the system?
So I think it's go ahead,
Steve. No, you go first.
I was going to say I think it's interesting. I'm struggling to remember because it's been so long. If you keep adding attachments, it looks like you snap eventually, and that's when bad things would happen. Is that right? So
Yep.
that's why the attachments are so sticky to you. And if they dominate, then you get more attachments, right?
Right. Yeah, the attachments become more and more. And the way I was envisioning how it colors the fiction for Don't Rest Your Saber is it distracts you. It's making you more and more emotional. Like you may have dreams about those things being put at risk. It's the kind of stuff that tempted Anakin that we saw in the prequels. I'm imagining that those attachments are what led him to start drawing on the dark side.
Well, mechanically right now, it's like, oh, I don't see any problems with attachments. And I think that's the intention. And then suddenly you get 3 or 4 and they generate their own and you're like, oh, I see the problem with attachment.
Yeah, attachments is one of those where in the base game, exhaustion, you have exhaustion like powers that you have that are really cool. And they're things that a normal person could pull off. They're not superpowers per se. They're just Olympic level athlete, or you just happen to be really good at a thing. And you have to actually increase your exhaustion to tap into those. They're also, while we're talking about it, and I definitely want David's feedback just from our midpoint, but there are a couple of things you can do with attachments here. So you can do the minor attachments use and the major attachments use. So when you're using your attachments talent for minor gain, you'll never achieve fewer successes than your current number of attachments dice, which means that if you have 2 attachments, and you say, I'm going to do a minor attachment use, you're fueling that ability. It means I'm going to probably ask you to increase your attachments, but it means, oh, well, this is really important. I definitely want my 2 attachments dice worth of successes. You're going to roll dice and you can never be less than that. It's like a guarantee. The other one is major gain. You increase the degree of success by the number of attachment dice you have in addition to rolling those dice. So that's huge, but it requires that you increase your attachments by 1 as part of the roll. So that's the other temptation part of attachments. So David, what's your initial first half? What do you think?
Yeah. So a couple things. One, it's not certain in the rules of when you have to use the dark side. Is that listed and I missed it?
So that's a fair question. So it's in here a little bit. So the when a Jedi uses the dark side, the roll has to include at least 1 dark side. That's your optional. That's very clear. However, let's see. Yeah. So in play, this is usually handled by a player saying they want to use dark side dice and then me putting a price. And then the price of using Jedi powers are probably, that's a little inferred. Should be according to the complexity, depth, and potence, and based on what the pain. Depending on what a Jedi wants to do, this price may always work on a sliding scale. So I will try to add some more color in that like if you want to do something with the Force, the GM may say that you're going to have to draw on the dark side to do that. That's how I was ruling it there, but I don't think it is clear in the rule stock. So
yeah. So I think it needs to be a little bit clear about at what point must you draw on the dark side. If the player is like, wait a minute, what I'm doing doesn't feel particularly evil or angry or fearful or anything like that. Something that helps connect that more, I think would be helpful.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point.
Yeah. And I also feel like, and we can talk about this more later too, I kind of feel like we on our own created a little bit of a problem from getting into the adventure by starting role playing before we got to the assignment. So
I was like, I had this pitch of you guys being in the middle of the action, but then I let us pull back. Yeah. that's me. Rich has a hard time with hard framing. Yeah.
So is like when we had those visions and contacts with people on Tatooine, and the pilot, you said, "So is the mission still on?" I'm like, like, probably not. If I was being smart, like
that was a dumb question, right?
No. It's a legitimate question based on those circumstances. But I felt like that's a point in which the players could have said, "No, we're not going to Tatooine after all. Let's go somewhere else." So I think if you're going to run this, have us start in the middle of the mission. I think is going to be easier to get us.
Yeah, that was the original plan, but then
that's fine. Otherwise, I think it's working pretty well. As long as it's clearly defined, and I think that everyone, the GM and players, will get more used to this as you play it. When you have to use discipline, when you have to use attachment, and when you have to use dark side. Because my character, the way that I built my character, is very much anti-using the dark side. So that's why I'm pushing to avoid it. So when I have to as a player, I want to know what that tipping point is.
Is that a negotiation that should be going on? Is, okay, if you want to pull that off, I see that as costing dark side points, like 1 or 2 or whatever. And then the player goes, well, okay, in that case, let's go a different direction because I don't want to use those dark side points, and let's do something else that won't cost that.
That's how I envision it. It just isn't clear in the rules.
Okay.
But that's what's in my head.
Right. And so what? Oh, go ahead, Stephen.
I was going to say, does that work for you where, if, Merida doesn't want to use the dark side, you can say, okay, then I'm going to go a different tack in order to avoid using the dark side because that's what she would do. Does that work?
David?
Could you repeat that, Stephen?
Yeah. Does it work if there's a negotiation where you find out, it would require dark side points to move a building, and you go, oh yeah, I'm not going to do that then, let's go about it a different way. Does that fix the whole, I don't want to go do the dark side?
Well, when it came up, which, if I remember correctly, which says, oh, you're really tired and whatever, so you have to use the dark side for this role. And so I was like, okay, I don't have a choice, I'm going to use the dark side. So what ultimately I'm wondering as a design for the game is, do characters who don't want to use the dark side, do they break the game, or is there a way forward? Like, because I feel like the dark side is a major component of this rule set.
It is,
right, to use it. So I'm wondering if like my character isn't necessarily a good fit for this kind of game.
So I never labeled this a play test. We're kind of testing out to see. Yeah. Generally, though, I would say, it does kind of push. It's kind of like you're going out to battle and you're like, no, I'm not going to use that gun. But like everyone else has guns, but like, the gun, this is a gun game. Like you're in Call of Duty, we're shooting people. So I'm not against it though, because as long as you as a player are open to that's cool. If you want to do this totally boss force thing, you're going to have to draw a little bit on the dark side, and you're okay with it, and it doesn't like ruin your interpretation of the character. I think that it's feasible and workable. But I wanted to check in. I'm glad that Stephen brought that up.
Yeah. So I'm just as we're playing, I'm just checking in with myself to say, like, does this feel like it's flowing well for the game, for me, and all that, and just wondering, like, where do I as this character even like decide using the dark side is a-okay after just gone through training, and presumably, unless the new order is like dark side is okay as long as you don't abuse it.
Yeah, no. So, and that's fair. No, the new order wouldn't be like that. That said, like I think there's a meta layer and then a character level. where you, the player, might know, oh, I just tapped into the dark side a little bit, but your character isn't conscious of just a nudge, like a draw upon that power, until things force you to where you have that response. Where
Okay.
that's kind of
Okay.
how I was envisioning it. I know it's
Okay.
not at all clear in the rules.
Sure. Okay. So let me play going forward with that knowledge that my character doesn't necessarily have a tag or, this is dark side. And then I think that'll help me to want to more engage with that part of the rule set.
Cool.
All right.
Good. I'm
Awesome.
glad we had this conversation. That's very helpful for me. And that gives me a tip for something to enhance the rules doc with, to explain that, like, conceptually, this is more on the meta level than it is on the character level, saying I must draw upon the dark side. It's more like I need power to do this thing, and it's stressful and scary. And that's the other part of the game, and I'll shut up. This other part of this game is I really feel like this is, you don't play Don't Rest Your Saber if you're the Jedi Council, like, debating philosophy, right? Don't Rest Your Saber is the game for high fueled, very stressful Sith coming at you, blaster bolts flying darkness action, and which is where what I'm trying to push for.
So I have a couple of things on that. Number one, it seems like it would work better with Padawans who are still feeling out their connection to the Force.
That's
so it'd
a
be
really
easy
good
for them
point.
to slip over to the dark side. And the other thing is, it ties into, you've seen the last Skywalker, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. Then, the end of that is very much about balance in the Force, and is about, the yellow saber and the light side and the dark side being not separated like they are in previous movies and stuff like that. And this brings more of the balance in there, where it's like, okay, now it's okay to draw a little bit of the dark side. Oh, but there's consequences. So
That's pretty cool.
That's something we
Yeah.
don't see much in, the original trilogy or anything like that.
That's a really interesting slant on it that I think I'm going to use for future pitches, because just from a general thing, I'm really like, this is my kind of Jedi. This is what I'm digging, like Jedi that are having to do crazy things, and things are not great, and but you're still being kind of amazing. So awesome. Good. You guys ready to jump back in?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So we come back from our commercial break, and I threw in a few pictures of, like, Mos Espa, Mos Eisley, and the places. Those aren't defined places. I just like those pictures to kind of remind us of stuff in Mos Espa and how it looks. With the hot, like it's baking hot, and Telrot, it feels super comfortable to you. It is nice to be back. You guys are in the slave quarters, so you see that there are, like, a few families of Twi'lek who are here. There is there's a Red 5 astromech droid that only has one working leg, that is using one of his, like, a little aperture kind of appendages things to help one of the Twi'lek family. And they're, imagining you're in, like, a little courtyard area between a number of these, like, domed huts and the like. And there are some people that are just sitting in the mid courtyard, but you guys have found a little place to hide out. No one's going to bother you here. You're getting some weird, like, looks, Telrot, but they're not going to mess with you. You are a Tusken Raider. They're just fearful of you. You can feel that fear. It's at the edges of your mind.
So I think we stop to kind of catch our breath, and I turn to Merida and I say, so we need to get to some place where we can lay low until everything passes over us. I suggest that you would be best to talk to any of the people here to get help, because my people have a reputation. And I'll do my best to stay in the back and just kind of, pull my cloak down a little bit, or pull down a hood over my face so that I don't intimidate them. But remember to be kind to them, and remember that these people have nothing. So, but they will have some place to hide. something. If that might be a person or that might be some small amount of thing.
Mhm.
So that's probably our best bet to lay down real quick.
Yeah.
To lay low.
Yeah, Merida really appreciates the insights from her Padawan, and will use that information going over to what do you suggest, like a shopkeeper, or what sort of persons would recommend us going to?
I would suggest we go to one of the slave families, and they would probably have see if they have some place that they could keep us quietly.
And we
Um,
have, well, I don't
and
know
I'm
if we have since we knew we were going to Tatooine, I would think that we have converted our currency to whatever's applicable here, so we could give them money for it too.
and I think I'm breathing really heavily. I think I have that broken rib,
Yeah.
and just need someplace where I can rest for a little while.
Sure. Rich, in this Star Wars game, do you envision us either narratively or with the rule set using our powers to heal ourselves or each other or anything like that?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, there's a little pain involved. I won't force you to use dark side for it.
Angry healing. Yeah, so I feel like if we're able to negotiate for room somewhere out of the way, if there's time after that, Merida would attempt some healing on her Padawan. She feels
Cool.
really responsible for his health.
Oh, nice. That sounds really wonderful. Let's do you that. So it's gonna hurt. I will say that if you want to help Telrod out, then that'll be 3 pain.
So I'm definitely using my 2 attachment and the 3 discipline. And let's see how that goes. So I got 2 successes from discipline and 1 from attachment.
Okay, that's nice. 2 from discipline and 1 from attachment. And I will roll my meager 3 pain, but I'm about to do something mean. Okay, awesome. So you would think, oh, this is a perfect roll. I only got 2 successes. You got 3 successes.
Uh-huh.
And discipline dominated the roll because 6-3, 6-1. But I'm going to spend one of these tokens of despair.
Uh-huh.
Turn that 1. I'm going to add a 6 to your roll. So you have 2 6s and attachments. Your attachment to Telrot is what helped you to heal him of his wounds. He is healed. That is indisputable. However, that attachment grows like it's like a little root, like takes hold of your heart, and your attachments will go up by 1. Now, the cool news is, friends, I have spent a coin of despair. My miserly GM soul has finally spent one of those many coins of despair. You get a coin of hope. Now, any player may spend a coin of hope to remove one of your attachment pools. So you can just like immediately take that away if you want to, or you can just keep it there. You can remove one of the check marks from anger, or fear if later you do that. Or you can add 1 to your discipline pool. Like that's a coin of hope. That's it. Pretty awesome. Either one of you guys can use that. You can do it anytime you want. And you may spend 5 minus discipline. So if you have a discipline of 3, it would be 5 minus 3, 2 coins of hope to recover a point of discipline, because later down the road, your discipline can go down pretty hard. Or you can remove a permanent point of dark side. But you're so far away from that. Don't worry about it. But it's some stuff that you can do with coins of hope. So now you have 1 coin of hope, friends. And that's pretty great. And I only have 3 coins of despair. So I'm going to clear the dice and re-add my 3 coins of despair. And you heal. So what does that feel like when you're healed, Telrod? What do you think is the ailment, and what does it feel like when your master heals you of your wounds?
So I think that for Telrat, we find a place where we can rest, and we're inside. And I think Merida puts her hands on my side and starts feeling and closes her eyes. And Telrad is struggling to breathe a little bit, catches breath. And I think the camera zooms in a little bit on Merida as she starts to breathe, and concentrate on her breath. And then Telrat's breath kind of matches that. And he starts to, instead of that ragged breath, he starts to smooth out. And we see that he eventually, after, a few breaths, calms, and then I think starts to drift off to sleep. And there's this slow rhythmic, in and out as he's asleep at this point. Yeah.
Nice. You're left alone, Merida. At least it feels like you're alone right now. Your Padawan has been healed. He just needs a few moments to recover his strength. The Twi'lek family here, there are some younger children. You can see on the father, you can see that there are these like 2 rings of scars from the chains that he wears. They're watching you from afar, not too afraid to approach.
I feel like when I was, because I feel like Merida has this, learning environment. She explains what she's going to do to her Padawan, and then as it goes, what things that the patient might expect, like the pain and things, and just focus on other things. I feel like she might also get into like how when she learned this, a broken arm during training, and she learned this method from another Jedi. She never says who it is, but the audience would gauge that it's Hela. That Hela and her had sparred, and because of them being too competitive, she had broken her arm, and Hela, gave her a rough time about it, but then came in later on and helped her heal her arm, and maybe that was the moment when they first started dating right after that. And so she's got Hela in the back of her mind and in her heart right now too.
Nice. And that connection, you hear her reach out to you. Merida, why are you here? Why have you come? You should leave. There are things here you will not understand. I know you're in Mos Espa. I know that you and that Padawan are in danger. I can get you off the planet. Just answer me. I'll help you to leave.
You have to come home with us.
This is my home now.
Your home is with me.
Not anymore, Merida. I've changed. I still care for you. And that's why I'll let you leave.
I can't leave without you. And that you've never left my side.
Just listen to me. Take my offer and leave. My master will not allow me to go with you.
Who says you need to serve a master?
And then that presence, her tickle at the back of your brain disappears.
Before she goes away, is there any way that I can try to figure out who her master is through that connection?
Ooh, there could be some pain there. And that
Because
sounds delightful.
I didn't know that she was working with someone else yet.
I know.
So she revealed that.
No, what are you going to do? Oh my goodness. So let's have you roll. So there will be some pain involved.
Oh, of course. I expect that.
I think
There
whenever
are-
she mentions the master in this thing, we hear this thought, and then the camera zooms in and we see Telrot lying down and sweat. I guess you can't see his face. Never mind.
You see sweat droplets pour from his vents.
From his horns. All right. We're going to say that her mind is shielded to try. What she revealed is more than she should have, and anything more will be very dangerous. So we'll call this a 5.
Awesome.
Pain.
So am I correct that we now have a 3 attachment going on?
You now have a 3 attachment. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm going to update that on your sheet.
All right.
So you're rolling 6 dice just to start.
Oh, I'm rolling 9 dice.
How are you rolling 9 dice?
Because there's this thing called fear for
Mhm.
my
Oh.
former friend.
Uh-huh. That sounds appropriate.
I feel like that's easier for me to say than dark side.
Here we go. Fear. Fear influences you, and so you get 3 more dice. Roll
Yeah.
those 9 dice.
All right. So let's see what we get from this. Holy crap. So my discipline was all 6s.
Wow. Your discipline's so dominant.
And
But
then
no
I-
successes.
2
all
on
right.
my
2.
attachments.
All right.
All right, and then let me go get a new color. Do orange, why not? 3 of those. 2 successes from dark side.
Okay. Let me roll my pain. All right. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 successes against 3 successes. And discipline, I mean, I'm not even spending my coins of despair. That would be a foolish bargain. I can't possibly win. And so
my discipline dominates.
it does. And you succeed. This is altogether win. So let's talk about that.
Yeah.
If discipline dominates, things stay under control. You have the option to remove a response check mark or decrease your attachments by 1. Would you like to decrease it from 3 to 2?
What was the first choice?
It's you can remove a response check mark like fear or anger. You don't have any, so there's no check mark to remove.
Yeah, let's go ahead and do that.
So you're going to decrease your attachments from 3 to 2?
Yeah.
Okay. Fantastic. This is what you see.
Meredith is not ready to see that.
This is someone that maybe Master Callus told you about, like in the old Republic days, known as a pureblood. They are strong with the dark side. They consider themselves those that created and master it. And that is who you see has taken control or is the master that she referred to.
So I don't know if this came through, but Merida was suggesting that getting rid of the master is an option.
Mhm.
Okay. All right. So yeah, Merida is probably crying, sad a little bit, but also she clenches her fists when she gets that information. And then she says kind of quietly in the room where she's with her Padawan, I know you, I will find you, and I will make you pay for what you did to my friend.
Cool.
And I think at that interaction, that's whenever Telrot starts awake.
Yeah, because I don't think Meredith is thinking about. I think she assumes that you're asleep.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like that. Sit up.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
And
dramatic.
that would be like, oh, are you okay? Are you feeling better?
Oh, much better. I probably
Nice.
slept for too long.
A few ships fly overhead. It's a busy spaceport. Mos Espa's not Mos Eisley, but it is nothing to sneeze at. And one of the Twi'leks, the father, you think, he eventually will get brave enough to come over and approach mostly you, Merida. He really does not want to deal with the Tusken Raider.
Right.
They are looking for you. They are offering credits for you.
We will leave your family. Thank you for your help.
They would never pay a slave. You are in no danger here, but they will tighten the noose. They will come here soon.
Yeah, Merida definitely, make sure money is given to them. And it seems like we need to go, Padawan.
I agree. Yes.
Thank you for your hospitality, and know that the Force is with you.
Tell no one.
He kind of holds the credits up and touches his head like a genuflection of gratitude. So, where do you want to go?
Yeah, so where does Tell believe is the next best option while we're here?
Now's probably when we need to make our contact with Thelu.
Okay.
And let's head in the direction of where her shop is.
All right.
Sweet. If you're leading the way, Telrod, there's a little bit of pain in traversing Mos Espa.
Yeah.
Lead on.
Yeah.
So let's say that this is just a nice little 3 pane. No big deal. MBD.
Let me look over my attachments. And basically the thing at risk here is whether or not we're caught. Is that right?
Yeah. Whether or not you're discovered and end up in a fight with stormtroopers or whoever else has been thrown this way.
So I have an attachment against authorities that subjugate others, like the Empire. So I'm going to increase my attachments because I definitely want to avoid them. So I'm rolling a discipline of 3 and attachments of 2.
Okay. And my pitiful 3 pain is coming your way.
Yeah.
Let's see how this goes.
Okay. It looks like I got 1 success.
Okay. That's not great.
No.
Your discipline dominated the roll, though. Man, that sounds awesome. I got 2 successes as well.
I only got 1.
Oh, you only got 1.
You got,
Yeah.
yeah.
Rough stuff.
Yeah.
That stinks so bad. Hold on a second. This is your attachments, right? 2 5s?
There's a 5 down below as well.
There
Scroll
is?
down.
I
Oh, there
can't
is on
scroll
my
any
screen.
further. Okay, I trust you.
Let's see if I can move that up. Yeah. See, it appeared now.
There we go. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. 2 5s and but you know what? Like if I were to spin a coin of despair, I could make your attachments, huh?
Yeah.
I'm gonna do that thing. So I'm gonna give you a 6 in your attachments. You fail, but attachments dominate the roll.
So I go up to 3.
Go up to 3.
Okay.
You guys now have 2 coins of hope.
Yay.
Just spend it like crazy now. So you're headed to Telu's shop, the one that Griggs used to run. What is it that they sell? Did they sell like machine parts or some kind of like they craft some kind of some kind of thing that they sell, or is it some kind of food that they sell? Like it's a little food stall. What do you think?
So I think what they trade for typically is they trade for moisture that they then use to farm a little bit of moss, and this moss is used like a spice.
Oh, that's
so
cool.
You get this dried moss, and they sell it in little packets, but you trade them moisture that they can use to grow more moss.
I want to just thank you, Stephen, for using moisture in the economy when I've never seen it done before. Thank you.
Yeah, if there were XP in this game, I would give you an XP for that. That's awesome. I really like that a lot. Good work. So when you head to Thalu's shop, you come in, you see her, you recognize her from the hollow. She looks very scared because a Tuscan Raider just snuck into her shop, her little moss spice shop. And I'm imagining that like there are all these lines that are across on the inside of this little, like, it's a stall, you know, it's not a shop, right? But there are all these lines with different bits of moss that she has just hanging over it, almost like pelts in a way. And then there's mosses growing along one of the walls where they've cultured and everything. And she's got this like little spritzer where she's spritzing little bits of moisture on it. When you come in, she jumps back and sees you.
Do not fear. I am a friend to you. I was the friend of your father's that we spoke.
Oh, friend, I would not disguise myself as a Tuscan Raider if I were you. And then Mary, you come in and she sees you.
Merida does her disarming smile and she says, I love your shop, which she does mean. And she puts a hand on Padawan and says, we're traveling together and we're here to discuss some things, perhaps in private.
Yes, and she will move to the doorway that you guys have walked in, and she starts to pull this like heavy kind of leather curtain over it that effectively means the shop is closed. But as she's starting to pull it, you hear the whoa, 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 as a trooper APC zips into the little kind of cross section of streets and the like. And she says, "Oh no, that the stormtrooper gang." She shuts the door and she says, I have to hide.
And I say, I'm sorry, we may have brought this heat down upon you.
So, Merida's feeling guilty. If this was a condition I could check, I would check it. And she basically gives you the look like, stay here and protect your friend. And then she opens the leather curtain and you can see her moving her disguised robes aside and to her lightsaber.
Oh, she's about to declare that it's on?
Yeah. Well, she's like thinking this through, like, you know what? These gangsters are a menace. And she's seen what they're doing to the local population, and the people that she's here to investigate already know she's here. So she's like, all right, this is it. And now she's going to go out there and take care of this gang that's just gone by.
All right. One of them's coming out. Lay down crossfire.
And as you step out, they're going to, like, they come running out of the APC carrier, and they're immediately pulling up their black.
Merida like pulls off her disguise, right? Oof. And she just lets it fall. So you see like her feet up, kind of like in an old Western standoff. You just see her disguise fall to the ground. She pulls out her saber and ignites it in proud Jedi stance.
Nice. And yeah, this is an entire squad of stormtroopers. At least one of them is going to hit you, and they are going to unload. Like, at this point, they have orders to kill you, and they really don't want to have a conversation because you have a, laser sword. This is 4 pain, a measly 4 pain coming your way. Nothing to worry about.
There's always something to worry about.
Yes.
All right, so I should have kept my attachment. I guess I could bring one into this, right?
Yeah, you can increase your attachments.
All right, let me take a look here.
Don't forget, if you want to increase your attachments by 1 right now, you can do that major attachments use that I talked about before. And so that increases the degree of success by the number of attachments dice you have. So,
okay.
In addition to rolling the dice.
Yeah. So basically, if I roll with 2, but I do the major attachment, I get an auto 3 on this roll or after this roll?
That's a great question. So you increase your die before you roll.
Okay.
You'll roll 3 dice of attachments, and you get 3 automatic successes.
So this is,
and after that's done, you would get an additional attachment, right?
Well, no, we're going from 2 to 3.
Yeah,
So
because
that's
I had pulled it
Okay.
back to 2 recently.
right.
Yeah. And this is definitely my culture attachment, Empire who controlled our lives in Corellia.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, let's do this. So 3 discipline, 3 attachment, and I'll roll those first. And I'm going to roll 3 dark side.
Oh my goodness. You are? I love
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Well, because this has really helped David, the player, not think of it as dark side, but think of it as like leaning into anger or fear.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All
That's
right.
really helpful. And I'm
So-
going to definitely rewrite this to be more clear about
Yeah.
that.
So my attachments all were successful, but my discipline did not. And then I'm going to do 3 dark side, and let's change
Your
that.
discipline is dominating. Look at you.
Let's do that. 115 for dark side.
Okay. So that means that you have had 8 total successes.
This
Right?
this is including that major
Use.
attachment.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect.
So let me roll mine in. I got 3 successes and a 4. Here's what I'm going to do, though. I'm going to be mean. I'm going to spend one of these coins of despair. Add. Oh, I got to spend 2. I'm doing it, though. I really want this to happen. Because I'm looking at our time. We only got
half an
20-ish
hour.
minutes left. I want it. I want it. So
do it.
I am spending both of my remaining coins of despair, and that is going to increase. And I'm going to add 2 6s to your dark side,
Yeah.
which means that you succeed. You eviscerate these guys, but you must. Dark side is dominating the roll, so you now have 3 coins of hope.
Yep.
And so you have to check off either anger or fear, and that colors. You get to narrate how it is that you took out this squad of stormtroopers with their APC.
Oh, perfect.
So what does this look like?
I think this works with the depths question. How fierce a warrior I can be when it's needed.
Nice.
But I feel like that goes beyond the normal parameters for Merida. Like she hears the pain of the people that she knew in Corellia and other places who've died or suffered, and also here, like reliving like the slaves and other things. She takes on that pain as anger. And so she doesn't just like deflect the bolts purely defensive and take them out, but she goes in and closes each one of them personally. Like each one. Like she deflects the bolts and then makes sure that they see her coming. Yeah. So she takes them all out in a ruthless fashion. So I have that action I'm supposed to take. All right, let's look at that. Where is that? Let me remove that. So let me see if I can get it through this mouse over. Okay. In response to anger.
Yeah, I mean, I think the way you've described it actually
is that
fulfills
enough?
the needs
Okay.
of it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So she's just like, when it's all said and done, like we probably don't even see it all happen. Like it gets cut and maybe, and like there's this camera shot of like all of the brutally killed troopers. We don't see guts, but we see them sort of slain in half. And she's still standing there, like walking around, pacing, like looking for more until her Padawan comes out. And then that's when she would turn off her saber.
Nice. I really think that a lot of the reaction here is what we see from Telrod's body language as he watches Merida eviscerate these troopers. Like I'm imagining we've got a couple of lopped off arms because it's a lightsaber. Yeah, some of them get run through and through. It is vicious.
Yeah, it's not like a one clean kill. It's like off at the knees. Yeah.
Oh Lord.
And I think what we see on screen is we see Telrod takes what was her name again? Takes Talu, and they head out to kind of the back of this stall, and they're running, and they go up through one of these second story things, and as they run past, they're trying to escape kind of out of a back exit. You can see this flash of lightsaber blade between 2 of the crenellations and everything. And he stops, and you can see this running, and then all of a sudden stuttering to stop, and seeing the carnage that's going on down below. And he slowly kind of, you see him walk up to the crenellation and you see him kind of turn his head a little bit. And, as in, almost in wonderment is what this looks like, and is like, oh. And I think that, and Thelu kept running and realizes she's by herself and stops and turns around and kind of waves. And he catches up with her, and the two of them then immediately descend back into this open area. And that's whenever he comes out, and Merida is stops pacing.
Yeah, like she's probably like, eventually Dawn's like, oh, I need to go, and then she'll return to who she was before that moment.
Nice. And because you had that response check mark, their dark side again, like a pool of 0, you drew upon it, it forced you to an action. And as long as you have response check marks to mark off, then you're okay. Once you run out of those, if dark side dominates again, then you take a step towards the dark side itself. And that's one that the character will feel, because you now will have a permanent dark side point unless you spend coins of hope and that kind of stuff. So yeah, that was a thing. Like, I've got a few more minutes, but there's a part of me that wants to say, like, that's the end of our session.
Yeah, like I love Steven's response, because that's like, holy shit. Yeah. I feel like that's like the cliffhanger moment.
I think so.
Yeah,
because it's a 2-shot. Are you okay, Steven, if we end it there? Awesome.
Yeah,
awesome. So I'd love to do a quick bout of stars and wishes. I know we did the mid game, which wasn't that long ago, but we did our mid game to talk about mechanically. But let's just still do a quick bit of stars and wishes, and then we'll close it out. We'll start with wishes so we can end with stars. Do you have any particular wishes for the game? Like, I feel like we talked mechanically. If you have follow-ups, feel free to share it. But I really want wishes for like second session. What are things we definitely want to see? We've kind of got some cool stuff loaded up, but I want to make sure I'm highlighting or going specifically on what you want. So David, what wishes do you have?
And I think an opportunity to convince, whether it's foolish or not, to convince Hela that we can take out the master. Even if Hela completely says, yeah, we'll do it, and then betrays Merida. I think an opportunity for that to be seen by the audience would be awesome.
Nice. I think so too.
Because I think Merida, in the back of her head, still thinks that there's hope for Hela.
Nice.
And of course, through violence, we're going to save you.
Right.
Right.
That's how it always works out.
Yeah.
Cool. David, any other wishes? That's a really great wish.
No, not yet.
Okay, cool. Steven, what about you? Wishes?
I can't think of anything I'd like to see. I'm very happy with what I've seen so far. I do have a question mechanically about the attachments, the major attachment, as far as mechanically. So you can add a number of successes equal to your attachments. You can only do that whenever you increase your attachment. Is that right?
Yes. And I think I did it wrong. I think you should do it at the value before you increase. Like, you've got 2 attachments, and I did it wrong. But I think if you've got 2 attachments, you're like, I want a major use. Okay, I get 2 automatic successes. And then after this goes off, then I'm now going to have a 3 attachment. So
okay.
I should delay.
That makes more sense with what I read. Okay. I think that clears up my misunderstanding.
I have a wish if Steven is okay with it.
Huh?
And because I'm curious, because I've never run a game where someone was a sand person, about it, because I know, and also we said we want to avoid this, of an interaction with your family, with you since you became Jedi or whatever. I think that would be cool, but by no means do I want to force it.
Yeah, I'm fine if the fiction takes us that direction. I have no strong preferences one way or the other. I did put one of the members of the clan, the wise woman, in the NPC seat. I'm definitely fine with interacting with more of those people. Yeah,
cool.
Yeah, that's my wish. Is like, I really want to come up with an excuse for us to see Kirta and see a little bit of the sand people, the Tusken Raider.
If I can make a suggestion.
Yes.
Okay, one way to bring her in, or more of the sand people, and one reason to have them appear on screen is I mentioned at the beginning that the wise people of the clan are not used to force powers and that kind of stuff, but they are used to, prophetic dreams or something like that. They could sense that there's a problem, and they might want to come here to help out. So that might be a good reason to put them on screen. Yeah.
I like that. I like that a lot.
That sounds
Cool.
great.
Let's hit some stars, friends. And thank you for helping with that answer, because that was definitely a wish I had. Once I saw that picture, I'm like, oh, how do we bring that person in?
Why don't you go, Steven?
Yeah.
As far as stars, I mean, I really enjoyed the game. It worked really well. I really liked, I'm used to more characters, more PCs in a game. But these PCs have so much depth to them that I'm really happy. I mean, whenever I say I'm used to more PCs in a game, there's, so much character that you're dealing with whenever you have 4 other characters or something like that. But in this case, these 2 characters by themselves have so much depth to them. It's very pleasing to see, how they interact and what they do and how they interact with the world. I'm very happy with that. That's really nice.
Cool. Thank you, Stephen. David, what about you? What stars did you have?
I'm going to double what Steven just said on that. And also, you're bringing Star Wars, your interpretation you're bringing of Star Wars to the game is always stellar. Yeah, so it's just this has been really a great experience, and I'm looking forward to part 2.
Good. I'm glad. I also am. I had nerves coming into this, and I feel like the mid-game check-in, and this is a start to you guys, that open, honest communication and helping me see where what's in my head and what's on the page are different. And also asking about the helping so that I could stick that in. That's now on the rules doc. So I think a little tweak on explaining dark side, the meta versus what the character responds with, and some advice on the GM putting a price on something to, like, say you're going to need dark side will help us. Will help future people. I feel like we got it figured out. So I really appreciate that. That was super, super helpful for me.
I think it was also really, really bright to limit it to 2 players, because I think 2 players puts a lot of focus and tension on the action that's going on, and limiting it to 2 sessions as well, because that means everything's going to move very fast.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
That makes a lot of sense.
I don't think Don't Rest Your Head or Don't Rest Your Saber is a campaign length game. Like, it's
right.
It's a 5 shot at most, and even then, it's like it can get a little long in the tooth. So yeah, this was great, friends. Thank you guys so much. I'm gonna go ahead and stop the live stream. We'll see you next week, and we'll finish this up.